Hello everyone, how are we all today? I certainly hope that you are well and thriving wherever you are in life. And for today's video, I wanted to do a recent or relatively recent hashtag from Carrie, which she did for her YouTube channel's anniversary. And the hashtag is My Tarot Identity. So I've done 10 questions. And some of these were actually pretty tricky. I actually found quite a few of them quite difficult to answer, and I had to think about, the decks that I was choosing for each question. But I got there in the end, so let's get started. So the first question is a tarot deck, or any deck, an oracle deck, that matches your outward aesthetic, such as decor or wardrobe. So I just want to say here that, when it comes to things like aesthetics, that is governed often by income. And so there are some limitations or constraints that most people have to grapple with when it comes to that. Now, it used to be the case that you could go, where I could go to the local op shops and obtain some really nice clothing that's natural materials for very reasonable prices, and that is no longer the case. But anyhow, that aside, okay, I'll show you what I chose, and then I'll explain to you why. I chose the Unfolding Path because it kind of has that sort of really nice, vibrant colors that I am very much drawn to. And also the color on the backs here, you see this sort of lovely blue that kind of verges a little bit towards turquoise, perhaps even a little bit in some parts. I am very much a blue person. I mean, the deck itself isn't, just blue and white. It's got loads of other vibrant colors, and I absolutely love that about it. How shall I do this? Hang on. I'll do it like that so we can have a focus. So what I liked about this is the vibrancy of it, that the aesthetic of this deck is full of life. It speaks to enjoying life. It speaks to being in love with everything that there is to love about being alive and thriving and fortunate to live in a place that isn't marred by conflict. And it is a deck that to me also oozes gratitude, absolutely. But I love the colors, and not that I'm the sort of person that walks around with super bright colors, but I do like to wear patterns, or so I'll give you an example. Okay, I'm going to put up some photos. Just visuals really explain things. So very recently I was looking for some cotton material overalls, because I do a lot of volunteering work at the local community gardens, and I wanted some light cotton overalls, not jeans. I've got those, but I live in the tropics, and here 9 months of the year it's summer. So here are some of the patterns that I've chosen. One's like green with squirrels and acorns and mushrooms, and it's fantastic, and I don't care what anyone else thinks. And the other one's got more of like a bohemian kind of a vibe to it, and I love that one too. It's got like butterflies or moths and things like that. So I do like things to have some vibrancy to them. In saying that, as I'm getting older, I am tending towards loads more white as well. I'm kind of craving whites and blues, not indigo, turquoise, those sort of colors, very much so. Like, I'm not a red person, I'm not an orange person, not pink. Purple to me is a very sacred color, so I would only wear that very rarely. I'm thinking about making like a purple robe for my magical work, but I'm oscillating between purple and white. But anyhow, I'm hoping you get the idea. See what I mean? It's actually quite tricky to explain. Well, I think it is. So yeah, I really like this deck for, it reflecting that sort of vibrant, colorful, aesthetic. My house decor isn't really like this, and I'll get into that a bit later. But I do have loads of house plants. I love to have house plants. I can't have as many as I wish to because the house itself, we've got a huge wraparound veranda, and that it's for good reasons. Being in the tropics, it provides shade, and so I don't have a lot of inner natural light except in some places of the house. So anyhow, deck that matches outward aesthetic decor or wardrobe. I'm choosing the unfolding path. All right. And I should also say that I do have loads of secondhand and thrifted items as well, that I'm actually very careful with now, because I can't just go down to the op shop and thrift. I really look for natural materials like cotton, wool. Cotton and wool are the predominant ones. It's very rare to find genuine bamboo or linen. I can still find linen now and then, thankfully, and I love that too. But right now the op shops are absolutely drowning in cheap synthetic polyesters and nylons and spandex, and it's a complete abomination. So anyhow, first deck, the unfolding path for aesthetic and decor. Now, I have... Okay, let's just go into the second question before I start explaining it. So, second deck is a deck that fits a guilty pleasure or a hidden aesthetic that I secretly love but rarely show. Now, I absolutely am in love with that kind of Nordic vibe or energy. Think about Scandinavia, think about Nordic countries like Denmark, Sweden, Finland, that part of the world, Iceland, Greenland. There's something that I love about their sparseness. Like it's the complete opposite to where I live, right? They're not lush tropical countries, and maybe that's why I'm so attracted to it. Like there's an energy about it that I love. The landscape, even when it seems barren, I absolutely love that. The rocks and the waterfalls, and anyhow, that is, and I love their aesthetic. Those sort of Nordic aesthetics, or that are that they just ooze calm. When I think about Nordic aesthetic, I think about mists and fog and a sparse landscape, lots of slate and charcoal and white from the mists. And in terms of the aesthetic, is like clean lines and neutral colors and those sort of things. So I wanted to explain that because otherwise I don't think this would make sense. Somnia Tarot. Yeah, it speaks to me of that landscape. Monochromatic, simple lines, not crowded. And if I could have parts of this in my own home, I would. I actually kind of do already. I don't like to have a cluttered home, except for my tarot room, where I've got all my tarot paraphernalia and, like 200 decks and all the books that I could possibly ever need and want. But yes, Somnia Tarot is to me a minimalist type deck. That you see, you've got like, even here, the sea is often present, there's the rocks and the mist, the fog coming out. I just think, to me, this really speaks of a Nordic vibe. All right, so this is like kind of like my hidden aesthetic that I absolutely secretly love, but rarely show. And I think for me, it's always going to be a challenge blending the two, because there's that part of me that is bohemian in nature, with the unfolding path that is colorful, and, you know, a bit shabby, vintage, op shop, that sort of stuff. But then there's the other part, which is this monochrome, clean lines, pragmatic, natural materials, simple but comfortable, 100%. Loads of white, lots of black and charcoal and slate. Love the candles. I mean, gosh, I don't know. I just really, really love this particular type of aesthetic. What more can I say? You like what you like, and the older that I get, the more comfortable I am in holding these opposing qualities within me. I don't have to pick either or. I can have both in different ways. All right, so this is the Somnia Tarot. Third deck is a deck that totally matches my personality. Well, I had to think about this. I mean, there was a deck that I knew pretty much straight away matches my personality, but I couldn't articulate very well. I think initially I was trying to find the quality of my personality, but really, I think this deck is 100% me, and that is the Gaian Tarot. It's either me in the sense that I already embody a lot of this energy, or it's one that I 100% work towards embodying and manifesting in my life. All right. So my personality. Inherently, I'm fairly pragmatic and down to earth. I mean, I don't think I could be in a position where I'm in now if it wasn't for those qualities. And building up over time and having that perseverance and that patience to stick to things, to complete things, be that a degree, relationship, having kids, a home, you know, and I'm in a really, really fantastic place in so many ways. No nonsense. I basically, I'm very grounded in the real world, even though there's a very much a dreamer part to me, but I've learned to ground that within the real world. And I like that aspect of this deck, because ultimately it is about our connection to the real world and our groundedness within that world. I'm very much into gardening and cooking. I absolutely love doing those things. Like I mentioned, I volunteer at the local community garden, you know, and there's that beautiful blend of, on one hand, having that dream and that vision for what a community garden is and could be, a place of connecting community. But on the other hand, you gotta have the pragmatism to stick with it, to go and to do work there. You know, there's mowing and brush cutting that are required. There's planting, there's pruning, the trees fall over. You know, so you got to be able to deal with all those things. You know, irrigation pipes that bust. I mean, my husband gets called to fix a lot of that stuff when it needs to be fixed. But what I'm saying is that there is the vision and the dream, but then there's the pragmatic necessities to that, and that is sort of like my personality. Like, I very much have a practical personality, and I can't stand nonsense, and, you know, I get almost like irritated when people are just so impractical, because I just see that they're just wasting their time, they're wasting their months and their years, and they're not realistic about what they should be aiming for or striving towards, or the amount of effort they should put into something. So that's my personality. I'm I will say things sometimes that people might find blunt. I mean, come on. You gotta be a witch worth your salt, right? You gotta let people know. You know, if you're a genuine friend, you gotta really let people know where they're at. But I think that overall, that aspect aside, you know, my personality is very much rooted in the natural world and is related to that. And what more can I say? I derive a lot of strength from that, a lot of love, a lot of hope. Above all, like you sit with nature and she offers so much wisdom and so much hope. So anyhow, that's deck number 3, the deck that totally matches my personality. I just love this deck. I love everything about it. I love just the natural vibe of it. I love the people and how they engage they are in life, and a lot of them, you know, have found their calling, like with the court cards. When we've got the guardians and the elders of the earth, I think that's absolutely beautiful. It's like a real deck. It's a real deck, but it that realness and that grounding serves a vision, serves a purpose of just how things could be on our earth. So, the Gaian Tarot. And yes, I have here the original, by the way, and I can actually see that the borders are getting a bit, gosh, I don't know, I think if it's age or mold. I really hope it's not mold. You probably can't see that. I'm gonna have to really try and do something about that. But anyhow, that's deck number 3. Deck number 4 represents a fun fact or something unique about me. And I've chosen the Forager's Daughter Tarot because if we're looking at something unique, more than a fun fact, it's my interest and my love of natural magic, natural magic practices. And this deck is, yeah, it kind of really fits that vibe for me. So there's something about it that kind of talks to natural elements. So we've got plants, we've got lunar phases, we've got insects and animals within it that all, and crystals too, and they all, to me, have that vibe of working with the energetics of nature, with elementals. I'm very, very much into that. If you're sort of wondering about natural magic and what it sort of entails, that's kind of it. I'm basically working with the 4 elements and the elementals for each element: earth, air, water, and fire. And I work with the phases of the moon, very much so. I'm even introducing that into my gardening practice. Working with astrological timing for creating amulets and talismans. So it's kind of like a holistic system. And the Forager's Daughter, to me, I don't know, it just really, really fits that. I'm so, so happy to have this deck in my collection. I absolutely love it. This is the Afterlight edition. So that's deck number 4. Deck number 5, a deck that feels like my alter ego. And for that, I have, excuse me, I'm just trying to get it, the Herb Crafter's Tarot. And I think if I could choose to have, like, let's say, you know, if I didn't have a family and my kids, and you know, I'd have the magic wand that could transport me anywhere, I would be in a little thatched cottage somewhere, somewhere in England probably, or a little cottage maybe in Finland, or you know, And everything would be made out of natural materials. There would be absolutely zero plastic around. I was actually at one of our pools today, and we were talking about girls' bodies developing so much more younger. And I asked my friend, who's a naturopath, in her opinion, what it was. And I was just saying, is it the hormones in chickens? I mean, they say they're hormone free, but they add them to their feed, and there's all sorts of stuff that's happening. And she said, well, it's not even that. It's the plastics. It's the plastics that are everywhere. And anyway, so yes, so this would be like my alter ego. I love the ethos of this deck. I love that there is not a single cent of plastic. I love that everything is natural materials: ceramic, clay, wood, woven baskets, cloth. It's just a stunning deck. And I'm kind of, I think people that know me would say, well, you kind of be like you're already there, but I'm not there like 100%. I mean, I don't have a little cottage for starters. I live in a fairly big home. But yeah, I just love this kitchen scene. I mean, the coziness of it all, the connection to herbs and food and flowers, and oh, that is just beautiful. So yes, this is my alter ego, the Herb Crafters Tarot. If I lived alone somewhere, I'd have like a little cozy cottage that embodies this energy, natural materials everywhere, dried herbs hanging from, rafters and things, and fresh herbs in vases. And gosh, I mean, it would just be, yeah, this would be it. Okay, a deck that fits how you are as a bestie. Vanessa Tarot, what a brilliant little creation. This is just, I love this deck. And a friend actually gifted me this, for which I'm forever grateful. Her choice was really, really fantastic. So how I am as a bestie? Well, I just caught up with some friends this morning. We went to our lagoon here in the Whitsundays, which is fantastic. And yeah, I just when I'm around people I'm comfortable with, I'm fairly enthusiastic. I mean, I'm a fire sign. My friends are often fire signs, so we get along like a house on fire, if you know what I mean. There's no holding back. I love to enjoy cafes and, go out to like little art or museum type things, and we don't have many here where I live, but I certainly do enjoy catching up for coffee and just enjoying life and just being part of it, and having a good catch-up chat. How good is that? And, seeing where everyone is at and how we're all doing and how our kids are doing. Or my kids are very young still, 7 and 10, so I'm very much in that phase of life. And I just think this is like a really fun deck. And I don't mean fun like I'm not into clubs. I mean, I've done that to the point that it nearly killed me, I would say, in my 20s. By fun, I just mean just enjoying life. And when I catch up with people, the sort of people that I love catching up with are people that are, in my friends group. They are invested or interested in their own work. Some are yoga teachers, some are naturopaths, some are artists, some are, oddbeat crafters and herbalists and all that sort of stuff. But we don't sit around and discuss. I'm not interested in sitting around and discussing conspiracy theories or political, like what's happening on the other side of the world. And it's not because I don't care, but I find like the sort of energy that I like to be around is the energy that lifts me up, and that I lift others up too when we're together. So to me, that's Vanessa. It's a fun deck. It's enjoying life, doing some baking, which we do. Sometimes we bring baking to each other's houses, or, and it's not competitive or anything like that. It was just really, really enjoying this phenomenally abundant phase of life. And I'm very, very, very grateful to be in it, and I'm relishing it because I know that my kids are going to grow up soon, and I'll still catch up with my friends, but it won't be the same. Our kids won't be part of that. And there'll be good things and bad things about it, I'm sure. But for now, I think that this deck represents how I am as a bestie, right? We're going to catch up. We're going to talk about how we're doing, some amazing things we've eaten, perhaps. It's joyful. We have a good laugh. We might go out for a coffee or catch up at the beach or somewhere like that, right? So this is it, a deck that fits how I am as a bestie. Number 7, a deck that represents a place you'd love to live or a dream vacation. Japan has always been. I've always had this fascination with Japan. And I believe it stemmed when I read Shogun, when I was very, very young. Absolutely loved it. And yes, I recently watched the recent series. Love that too. And this is the closest thing that I could find, even though it's got a samurai theme. But hey, close enough. So I think from reading Shogun, I got a glimpse, even though it's a fictional book, but James Clavell is very, very knowledgeable in Asian and Japanese culture. You get a sense of that from the book. And I got an understanding of their philosophy around the concept of impermanence, and that nothing is permanent, that everything changes. And you see that in their poetry, in their haikus. You see that in their flower arrangement, like ikebana, the tea ceremonies, the concept of wabi-sabi. There's just so much about Japanese culture that I would love to one day go there and really immerse myself in it. And yes, we could have gone, when we lived in Cairns, there were direct flights from Cairns to Japan, but I don't want a quick 1 week, quick. Get on a plane, get there, cram as much as you can into that 1 week, and then leave. If I'm going to go for 3 months, people, or probably 3 years. I just want to really, really immerse myself in that culture. So this is a deck that represents a place that I would love to go to, or a dream vacation. It's a very, very, I love this deck. It's an intricate deck for readings, though. Because it doesn't follow the Rider-Waite-Smith strictly. And the booklet is a bit cryptic too. So just giving you a heads up on that. But anyway, so that's number 7. The Samurai Tarot by Massimiliano Filadoro and Giancarlo Caracuzzo. Well, it's very Italian names. Creating a Japanese deck. All right, number 8, a deck that brings out your creative side. And for that, I thought I'd bust out an oracle deck, the Kantiji Oracle. An ecological, spiritual guide and creative prompt deck. It's in the title. All right, and particularly why I was drawn to this is because it encourages a kind of creativity that is rooted in the natural world and that sort of eco-consciousness. It's really, really good for that. And the book that comes with it is brilliant for prompts and for guidance and, activities and things like that. So And I think by itself, this deck is a masterpiece in creativity for an oracle deck. Kissed by Whale Spray. Like the card titles just had me, I was in love from the beginning. The Exploding Star, the Living Mountain, which I got when we were thinking about moving to the Tablelands, which is like a mountainous region. I got the Living Mountain, and I always felt that region had a very, very strong energy to it. And I can't, anyway, I can't explain, but the fact that I got this card for the Tablelands was always very interesting. The Calving Glacier. So you get the idea. The cards are unusual and fantastically so. They're not. This is not your stock standard oracle deck. Your feet are two fish, and then roots grow from your feet. And then there's a thorn in the paw. Okay, wingless, you fall into the sea. It's such a beautiful deck for inspiring creativity. And again, the reason why I picked this is because my interest lies heavily in natural magic, in working with nature elements, and this deck encourages eco-consciousness and an exploration of our place in our natural world, and how we can basically not be dicks about it as we live our lives. And work to protect it and preserve it for future generations and not exploit it. So anyway, this is the Kent G Oracle. Number 9, a deck that represents the landscape of your dreams. Now, hang on, I've actually got to go and get it. So this was tricky for me because I can't say that I have a dream pattern. I do have occasionally very symbolic dreams, but then at other times I have crazy dreams, weird dreams. I don't have recurring nightmares. I'm not just not one of those people. I don't do what do you call it when you're conscious in your dream? Lucid dreaming. I don't do lucid dreaming. Anyway, so I'm taking this outside the box, and I'm looking at my dreams for our world and for all of us. Right, this is the landscape of my dreaming. And for that I have songs for the journey home. Because deep down, I hope that all of us, no matter what background we come from, and no matter how difficult it might be, and no matter how unconscious we might be about our path in life, and no matter how uprooted we might find ourselves, I hope that we all find our way home. I hope we all sing our own song. We have the courage to be our authentic selves. And this deck, the ethos of this deck is very much in that. This is a person that's broken free. You see, he's got the scissors. And he's broken free from, like everyone else is tied. Everyone else, he has the hand with the strings pulling, like the master pulling the puppets. And then this dude, dressed in the rainbow colors, is going, nah. I have the power to say no and to choose my own path. And this kind of philosophy is embodied through many cards in this deck, as is the decisions that we make about, what we prioritize. Do they serve greed and profit, or do they serve our natural world, like in this card? So my dream is that, like I said, that everyone finds their path and their journey home. All right, and this is Songs for the Journey Home. It is a New Zealand deck created by Catherine Cook and Dwariko von Samaruga. Occasionally you will find this coming up on secondhand Facebook groups. It's out of print now, as far as I know. It is a hand-drawn deck, and I appreciate that about it too. And yeah, it just embodies, again, that consciousness that aligns with the natural world, that people make the right decision. Here's another example. We've got the two options. One's the pull of the natural wild, and then on the other side is that kind of constructed man-made landscape with skyscrapers and roads and the whole of civilization. And I think ultimately it's choosing what's right for you and where you fit in, because there are many people that will thrive in this and not in that. I certainly lean towards this side very much so. And I honestly think that as human beings, we people that are aware and sensitive need a certain amount of nature in their lives, I think, or quiet, the ability to have contemplation and quiet, and cities can be quite tricky for that. Here's another beautiful one, a mother breastfeeding, gosh, and the bees, the beehives. So yeah, I'm going on a limb here, I'm going outside the box, and this is the landscape of my dreams, because I hope that everyone finds their own song and follows their own journey home. So this is Songs for the Journey Home. Finally, the 10th deck is, hang on, I've got these written down, I'm trying to see it. A deck that represents your life currently. It captures the mood, the energy, or the season of life. And for this, I thought I'm going to go with the absolutely lovely Cosmic Cycles Tarot. Because it is a modern deck, and I don't live in a thatched cottage on the shores of an English small quaint town. And I am very much in the midst of even though I'm in my mid-40s, I'm turning 46 this year, I'm very much in the midst of motherhood, because I was a late mother, right? So my youngest is 7, and I chose to be a part of life as much as I can. I didn't want to withdraw or alienate my children from the wider world, and for better or worse, it is what it is. In other words, I'm not living in a little commune removed from civilization. All right, I am part of the fabric of my immediate society. I try to choose activities that align with my ethos, like volunteering at the community gardens. But my kids play sport. We have a varied network of friends from all parts of life, and probably political spectrum as well, and that's fine. That's actually great. So the cosmic cycles is kind of imbued with modernity throughout it. And as much as I am a Luddite and a hermit at heart, once you have kids, you realize that I didn't think that it would be good for them to move them or remove them from the wider community and society. As much as I disagree with some of the cultural norms that are practiced, especially here in Australia, it is what it is, and it's taught me that I will meet people that I will perhaps judge in the first instance, and then I'll find out later on things about them that I really admire. You know, it's like that contradiction thing. So anyway, I love the light. I love the cosmic cycles because it does represent my life. I'm in the midst of it. It's not a solitary type deck. There are people in here doing all sorts of activities, doing all sorts of modern activities, like someone's getting a degree, someone's playing basketball, someone's got to go to work, working mother, been there, done that. All like the whole spectrum. And I feel like that really reflects where I'm at. I accept it all. I embrace it all. Even I still have my own path to walk, but I'm not shunning any of it. All right, because this is where we're at. Even the screen time. I'm on YouTube, right? So anyhow, this concludes the hashtag, and thank you, Carrie, for this. It was a really fun hashtag, although I had to think about it. I tell you what, it wasn't that easy, but it was fun. Okay, so I'm going to conclude that now, and if you're still here at the very end, thank you so much for making it through this video. It's one of the lengthier ones, but I kind of really needed to explain some of my choices through these decks. And it also shows why I have such a diverse range of decks, because they do fit different purposes at different times. But yes, thank you so much for joining me here and for supporting my channel. And until my next video, take care.